Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't have this
Possibly world
unbelievable
record.
brain,
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd do it, but
Yeah.
I do. Okay, let's go. We're out of here on that note. Yep, dumb blonde from New Jersey said that. Yeah, that's right. The unbelievable brain is back. Yes, he is. And the lesser brain of Paul Burmeister is here with us. What's up, everybody? I'm just joking. His brain is greater than mine. I already know that. This is Chris Simms Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? Little X over my head and shoulder on both sides. Booyah. We must protect this house. Under Armour's here. But, Paulie, how you doing, buddy?
Good to see you from the lesser brain side of the table over here.
Yeah. Smart people there, dumb people here. Paulie had to call the game, one of the games of the weekend, really. Florida State, Notre Dame. That was a blast to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, really. First off, I was starving for football this weekend anyways. No preseason football, so I can't wait for the NFL this week. We got, the opener Thursday. We'll be there. Bucks, Cowboys. But just fans in the stadium, and your game hit me hard with the Seminole coming out, riding the horse, throwing the spear, the fans going crazy. That was the first time I was like, man, college football's back. Here we go.
The entire thing was so awesome, Chris. And, I mean, I'm like you. I grew up around football, so I never really took it for granted that how cool it felt, whether it was an NFL stadium or college stadium with the fans filing in. It was packed, but we missed it so much last year. It's like any other part of your life that you were without last year. When it comes back a little bit this year, you're like, man, did I miss that?
I know. You don't even realize it.
I was down on the field before the game. You know how you try to talk to the coaches and players, and as the fans came in and the band started playing and the chirping started, the energy and the kind of feeling it gives you, number one, I can go out and play.
Yeah, right.
It's the only time
you're
of the entire year at this age you're like, I wish I could get out there myself. But it was so much fun. It was so electric. And then the actual game coming down to an overtime field goal was just fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, the game had a lot of swings and ebbs and flows.
Forth,
and of course, I'm super excited for Jack Cohn.
Yes.
I will say that. I'm going to give a shout out to my brother, Matt Simms, my father. They've really been training him and working with him since high school.
I didn't know that.
So this is a big deal. I know they thought, and I'm sure he thought, that he got a raw deal at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I know my brother a few times over the weekend tweeted out, especially with
Wisconsin
Wisconsin
feels a little
losing.
different the way Wisconsin
he was like,
lost.
He kind of was. He's been saying it all summer long. He goes, Wisconsin's going to miss Jack Cohn more than Jack Cohn's going to miss Wisconsin. You watch.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. So that popped. He looked good.
He did.
And then I do want to bring up one other college thing, just because I think it always pertains to the NFL. I mean, and Notre Dame had a lot of NFL players on the field.
A lot of GMs there, by the way.
Oh, I know. I mean, of course they are.
Yeah.
I mean, how could they not be? There's a lot of talent. And then even Florida State had the look to where I went, they're going in the right direction, of course.
Yeah.
But I want to bring out the kid from Ole Miss from last night. I think that's something I do want to just hit 1 second, because I'm blanking on Matt's last name. What the hell's his last name?
Coral or Corral?
Corral. I think it's Corral. Yeah, there we go. Corral. Sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't watch that whole game. I probably only saw 12 to 15 throws. Okay? But it popped.
Yes.
And I know he's got a lot of conversation about him being one of the top quarterbacks coming out in the draft. I'll just say, from this standpoint, to what I've seen right so far, and I saw him a little at the end of last year, he's in a leader house for what I've seen. He's in the leader house.
Yeah.
I know, the kid from North Carolina has talked about. There's a few other guys.
Tough weekend.
But, tough weekend. But this kid had legit unbelievable eye-popping arm talent that I thought popped out to me right away, let alone really good feet. Has a little bit of that Roger, Zach Wilson look to him. Quick release. Yeah. Ball's a perfect spiral.
Did you see the beginning?
Spin.
Did you see the first drive?
I missed the first drive.
First drive, and I forget if they ended it with a field goal or a touchdown, but he went down, and literally it became funny how he was hitting these players in stride with perfect passes. If you can go back and get a hold of the first drive, and they weren't swing routes or stop routes. I mean, he was hitting people 15, 20 yards downfield while they were running in stride time after time after time. I hadn't seen anything like it for a while in terms of just accuracy, ball placement, decision-making. So I got to know him a little bit at that All-Star game we do at NBC down in San Antonio. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been there. Jake Fromm has been there. JT Daniels. I mean, all these big-name quarterbacks have been there. He was there. And so his talent has earned attention for a long, long time. And he looked awfully good last night.
Justified. I mean, I'm going to be excited to kind of watch him as we go forward because it looks like just from the look, again, the quick look, he looks like he's the real deal. Twitchy, and like you said, quick release, ball spins, ball flies out of his hands. So that's my update on college football. One
more addition since you have a connection to Jack Cohn. He's
Right.
the kind of guy, and this is really the ultimate compliment. It might not sound like it right away, but when you watch him warm up, and I get next to these guys, I get as close as I can to them in warm-ups to see it all. And you're like, okay, nice spiral.
Right.
Comes out okay.
Yeah.
Not going to wow you at all.
Right.
He performs so much better in a game than he does in warm-ups. And there are a lot of guys that catch your eye when they're throwing the ball. It doesn't really show up in a game.
Right.
His decision-making, his demeanor, his ball placement.
Yeah, that was
his
big.
consistency
No doubt.
was terrific
Right.
from the start of the game to the end. So I really do mean that as a compliment to your family that's worked with him too, that he performed really, really well.
Really, I mean, I know my dad and brother think he's got all the materials to be the quarterback. Yeah, it's not eye-popping, wow talent, but it's very good.
Yes.
He should have a career in the NFL. And to your point, like, he didn't miss any throws or miss any decisions or leave any plays out there on the field. You might have been like, oh, wow, that's the greatest throw I've ever seen. But every ball, again, was catchable, put in the right place.
Throws a great spiral.
Throws a great spiral again.
That matters.
It does matter, no doubt. And, yeah, that was good to see. Good for Notre Dame.
I derailed you a little bit here as we were
good.
ready to jump off the college thing into the NFL. This is a fun podcast because it's the one time a year, or at least for the next few months, where we're not talking about games that happen or previewing the meaningful games that are coming up over the weekend. We're making predictions, or you're making a lot of predictions. I'm going to jump in here.
Good. Yeah, you're a part
kind
of
of
this.
play sounding board a little bit, maybe call, hey, I don't know about that one a few times. But from the Super Bowl winner all the way back to division winners, players of the year, we're going to predict it all here today.
Yeah, okay. Sounds
And
good.
to set it up, how about we take a peek at how you did last year?
Okay.
All right? Let's take a look back. The answer key kind of looks like the Carolina Panthers there a little bit. With the colors and the way the answers are.
Yes.
How'd you do?
I did. I mean, let's see. The NFC, I'm wrong because I had the 49ers and Eagles in the playoffs, right? And the Cowboys. So that was a negative, And the Niners is the one where I kind of got screwed. They had the injuries and everything there.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, that was obviously a bad pick, not being able to forecast how bad that defense was going to be. Of course, Dak Prescott's injury hurt them. AFC, Texans and Patriots are the two I got wrong. Overall, I feel like I was on the right track. I didn't quite have the guts to pick the Browns to go in last year. I think I had them going like 10-6, but just missing out, right? So I missed on them, and then I picked the Texans over the Tennessee Titans. So that was wrong there. The one that's glaring omission here is, of course, the Super Bowl champions not on there, the Bucs. The Bucs, I kind of did the same thing I did with the Browns. I made the Bucs, who ended up 11-5. I ended up making them 10-6, I remember from last year, and like losing on a tiebreaker and not getting in the playoffs. Well, obviously I was wrong there. They got in, and of course they made the run to the Super Bowl. But we'll see. It's always fun. It's always, to me, the fun part of this exercise is, hey, listen, I know the few teams that I think are going to be good, and like we know that, but who are going to be the 1, 2, 3 teams that kind of jump into the party that we didn't expect or make a run that we didn't expect? And to me, that's kind of the fun part of this whole thing, is trying to figure that out.
Let's begin it this way. Let's rank the order of finish and playoff teams from each one of the divisions, and then we'll fill out the bracket and move on from there. We're going to kick off each one of your predictions with each division with a look at our friends from PointsBet and how they are viewing this division to set it up.
Cool.
So let's start with the AFC East. PointsBet, no surprise there. They have Buffalo as the easy favorite, followed by New England, Miami, and New York. The Jets way back there at plus 2,000. Buffalo, New England, Miami, pretty closely bunched there at the top, by the way, according to our friends at PointsBet. How do you see the AFC East?
I think I see it going exactly that way, right there. I'm looking at Buffalo winning the AFC East, New England being a playoff football team and being a pain in the butt all year, but a game or two behind the Buffalo Bills, the Dolphins being right there in the mix, and I have the Dolphins not making the playoffs.
Yep.
I had to pick. The AFC is so deep and so unbelievable. They're the one team where I went, man, tough division. The Patriots got a lot better. Tua yeah, it looked good in the preseason, but I still would like to see more before I just go playoffs. I mean, come on now. They were in that conversation last year because Ryan Fitzpatrick saved the day a bunch of times. Yeah. So I get scared of that, and I just got to see a little bit more out of Tua. So, like Miami, everybody has listened to the pod, but I've been talking positively about their football team. It's just the AFC is so good, and I look at the AFC East as being really good, and yeah, I have more of a question on Tua than I do on Mac Jones or of course, Josh Allen, who I regard as one of the best players in football.
I think a lot of people, when it comes to the AFC East, first of all, almost everybody sees Buffalo as the number one team. But the real wild card there is Miami. To me, it's more with New England, not because I doubt them as a playoff team. I paused at putting them number one over Buffalo. Now, I didn't. I had Buffalo there, but I really sat and thought about it and looked at my paper there this morning longer than I anticipated, with New England possibly being the best team. Did you have any of those feelings at all?
I think they're going to be right there neck and neck with Buffalo. I couldn't pick it. I guess it's just because of the Josh Allen, Mac Jones factor, to where they just go, man, Josh is so good and can take over so many games by himself. But, yes, in my mind, it's closer than I think what people are giving it credit for. First off, the Patriots maybe won the offseason, with what they did in free agency. And I just think they're going to be a totally different team. And even last year, with almost every disaster hitting them possible, they were 7-9, and just really feel unlucky breaks away from being in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think they're going to be right in it. I guess what I'm expecting is maybe a bump or two more in the road than Buffalo, just because you do have the rookie quarterback and everything. Right. But they're going to be able to manage him, as I reminded everybody. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, Mac Jones, we're going to act like this is 2007 Tom Brady, and he's going to have to carry the team. They're still going to run the football and have a pass offense that fits him. Hey, they managed Matt Castle and went 11-5. With Brady and the Deflategate suspension, they went 3-1 and lost that one game with the third string backup, not the backup, the third stringer. So they'll find the right way to play for their team that gives them the best, success rate week in and week out.
I think you mentioned that you see Buffalo as a game or two better than New England.
Yeah.
How do you see that gap between the Patriots and the Dolphins?
Not much farther than that, too. Maybe a game or two. I wouldn't even be shocked if it was just a game. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they're tied and it comes down to tiebreakers. I mean, again, I think we're going to have a few teams in the AFC we're going to go, damn, they're good. That's a playoff caliber football team, and they're on the outside looking in. Yeah.
All right, to the AFC North, thinking about some really good teams that might not get in. At PointsBet, they see it this way: Baltimore just barely ahead of Cleveland, plus 120 to plus 140, and then a little gap down to Pittsburgh. And then just like the Jets were in the AFC East, they have Cincinnati at plus 2,000. You could order 1, 2, and 3 in the AFC North any way you'd like, and I could sit and listen to you and be like, okay, I guess I'd buy that. Crazy. How do you see it?
I'm going Cleveland 1. I am. Cleveland, to me, proved to me at the end of the football year, it doesn't matter anymore. Get over it. Get over the mental, this is Cleveland that went 0-16 and 1-15 4 and 5 years ago. It's a new team. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore, so get over it. We got to break down these barriers in our own brain. They showed at the end of the year that they could beat the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, geez, they were this close. If Lamar doesn't come out of the locker room with his cramps or the bathroom or whatever, they're going to win that football game. Right. I mean, so there's that. Oh, no, they can't beat the Ravens. And, of course, they dominated the Steelers in the playoff game. Dominated. And were a fourth down scramble from Chad Henne and a bad break with fumbling the ball into the Chiefs' end zone away from going, damn, they could have been in the AFC Championship game. I look at them as just kind of having the mojo and have everything in line.
100%.
And the roster itself speaks to that as well. So I'm picking the Browns to win that division. I'm going to go actually Steelers 2, Ravens 3.
I was hoping you had Baltimore 2, Pittsburgh 3, because I felt like I was cutting against the grain having Pittsburgh at 2.
I've brought up, and I don't know if you were on the show or not, but Baltimore, again, I'm not expecting a fall off, but there's something about them that first off, their front seven, I think no difference maker on the defensive line bothers me just a little bit. They have to blitz to create pressure. And I know they're really good in coverage in the back end. But, like, against some of these teams in the AFC with the quarterbacks and the weapons they have, man, you just can't blitz and leave. I don't care if you got Humphrey and Marcus Peters. You know, that's just too much to leave them on an island all the time. So I guess that scares me. The running back injuries, you know, another year of everybody getting used to the Lamar Jackson run offense. Can the pass game take off and do those things? I guess I could just I got to see a little bit more of that. And I just feel like I don't know why. I just feel like maybe a drop's happening. It's just a gut thing, the way it looked in preseason. So, yeah, I had them coming in as third, but all three in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm putting all three in the playoffs. I put Browns, Steelers, and Ravens. I couldn't knock them out. It was just too good to me.
I was going to ask because when we put the AFC East to bed a moment ago, you said there's going to be some really good teams in the AFC that just don't make it this year.
Right.
You're voicing some concerns about Baltimore being not quite up to their normal standard.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, do you see them missing the playoffs? I could see it happening, but you have them squeaking in.
I do. I have them squeaking in. I couldn't come to the fact of they're too battle-tested. There's still a lot of big physical people on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
And listen, there's a culture there of winning and being
big time.
And it's a close football game and we're the big bad Ravens and we'll find a way to win the football game. Yeah, I just have too much respect for them that way. But I guess I do see a little bit of a fall off. And I think, hey, it's worth mentioning too. AFC North, they got the NFC North and the AFC West, just to hit on that. Yeah, NFC North I don't look as being like a juggernaut this year, but the AFC West, that certainly would be a pain in the butt.
I don't think you're going to use juggernaut for the AFC South.
No,
which is
I'm not.
Where we are heading next.
Yeah.
Points bet. Let's see what they have here for the AFC South. Tennessee, negative 115. Indianapolis, plus 145. And then a significant drop to Jacksonville. In Houston, all the way down there at plus 2,800. Now, the other two divisions we hit in the AFC, I'm like, okay, I can see it going any other way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to view this one anything different than what they just said.
I don't either. To me, it's just like, can the Colts challenge the Colts? A little like the Ravens. I don't know. I just got a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth after the preseason.
Yeah.
Just again, maybe just the way, the Carson Wentz situation unfolded. Yeah. Here you are in a new place. You were hurt. Then it was COVID, so you haven't got those reps. They've dealt with a lot of COVID talk in general. Quentin Nelson not being around. The unbelievable start to their schedule. I am picking the Tennessee Titans to win the division.
Yeah.
And I had the Colts as being one of those teams that's going to have a good record, but going to miss out. And the biggest reason I came away for that is, I think there's two things. The first thing that I would say is I think their defense is good. I got to see it maybe before I label it as dominant. Or ability to win games by itself because the offense is lackluster this week. I don't think they're that caliber of a defense, as you've heard me mention before. And then I think with all the things we just mentioned with training camp and everything there, I guess I envision them getting off to somewhat of a bad start.
Okay.
I guess that's where and then it's just too much for them to overcome. I would not be shocked if we're sitting here and the Colts did win the division or even got in the playoffs. There's the talent is there on their football team to do that. But, yeah, I'm taking the sure thing, I think, and Vrabel, Tannehill, the Julio Jones edition, Derrick Henry. I'm going to take that group down there to win the division.
Kristen, can we show one more time the entire AFC South? I'm curious what Jacksonville was, just as I compare them to the Jets. They were negative 2,000. The Bengals were negative 2,000 there in their division. So Jacksonville, quite a bit better.
I don't get that either. I know.
I'm sorry, those teams were plus. So Jacksonville at plus 600. That's a big difference between Jacksonville, the Jets, and the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't understand. The Jacksonville, I would think, would be right in that category with them. I'm excited about some of the talent and everything. But like we discussed, it's a new head coach. It's a new quarterback. It's a bunch of new players, whether it's free agency or the draft. I just think it's going to be hard to mix them all together and expect, like, crazy positive results.
One more place to go in the AFC, the AFC West, and this will be fun to see after it's the Chiefs. Could go a couple of different directions. So our friends at PointsBet say Kansas City negative 275, and then Los Angeles plus 500, Denver plus 700, and Vegas plus 1,300. Did you want to hit the Chiefs? You want to get right into what you see at 2, 3, 4?
Well, the Chiefs are going to win the division. Yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs to win the division. And just, to be totally out there with you, I'm picking the Chiefs to be the number one seed in the AFC.
Okay.
I am. I'm going out there. Do I have some things that concern me a little bit about them? Yeah. I'd like to see who that other receiver is going to be that jumps off. Maybe how some of these new parts in their secondary work. Does Mike Hughes really contribute and play a big factor? The guy they traded for the Vikings, a former first-round pick. DeAndre Baker, the guy who got in trouble here in New York, they signed him as well. Can he contribute? How does Chris Jones at DN work out? I got questions about that, but it doesn't mean, they're not questions where you're like, I don't know if they'll be the same team. It's like, well, will they be 13-4 or 12-5? And that's how I look at them. Now, the rest of the division.
Yeah. Who's your 2?
If you're gonna hold a gun to my head, I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Okay,
I am. The quarterback's too special, and I think the weapons around him are too damn good too. And but I think that's close between Denver. I think Denver's a similar type of team, except I guess I want to see how the quarterback situation plays out a little bit more.
Yeah, and the Raiders there at 4. Did you have consideration for them any higher than that?
No, the Raiders, to me right now are they got some talent on offense, but the defense does not jump out to me in any way. I do think Gus Bradley can improve them, but the Raiders as a whole, I just kind of go, it's hard to figure out what direction they're going in all the way. Kind of the rebuilding of the offensive line this offseason. Can Henry Ruggs show up and show he's worthy of that top 12 pick, or that he was? Because he certainly was outperformed last year by CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk and Justin Jefferson. It wasn't even close. Chase Claypool, you can go down the list of guys that were better than him. So that's what I worry about. But, ultimately, Paulie, I'm only picking the Chiefs to go to the playoffs in the AFC West. I was going to ask
about the Chargers, yeah.
They're to me, okay, of course, the division's good. They're going to beat themselves up. And then when you look at the AFC West, they drew the AFC North and the NFC East, right? So they got the AFC North, which is legit. The NFC East, I know, is nothing special. But I just look at that overall, and I just have, I want to see Herbert in the new offense, how that works with Joe Lombardi. Want to see how the offensive line is altogether. Can Bosa and Derwin James stay healthy? I certainly can see them being in the playoffs, but sitting here, early September and having to predict it, there's just things that I think are a little bit more of a safe prediction than them right now.
Hey, before we move on to the NFC, Kristen, did you have a note there for us? Okay. NFC,
let's do it.
Here we go. Let's start with the NFC East. And to me, the real intrigue here is, how do you see the top 2? Okay, so PointsBet says Cowboys plus 140, the Washington football team plus 220, and then a gap to the Giants and the Eagles, although not that big of a gap. This is the 5th division we've seen so far, Chris, and this is the closest from the top, Cowboys plus 140, to the Eagles at the bottom at plus 525.
Yeah.
Do you think it's that close?
I do. I don't think there's great separation in this division throughout. I wouldn't be shocked if you told me New York won the division, even though, again, I would probably pick them third as we sit here right now. A close third, though. Philadelphia, they're 4th, but there's aspects about Philadelphia where I go, man, if that offensive line and defensive line stay healthy, and Jalen Hurts runs the ball, and Nick Sirianni's pretty creative on the offensive side of the ball, they could be a pain in the butt. The one where I don't understand how the Cowboys are just slam dunk number 1. I want to go, man, I think I have more questions about them than just about every other team in the division to a lot of ways.
I have the Washington football team.
Without a doubt. I'm going Washington football team too. They're winning the division. I haven't wavered down on that since the spring.
What do you think people see in the Cowboys that we're not seeing here?
Star power. People are just being affected by that. That's what I look at. And then it's just, America's team, and they get a little bump from that. But okay, I don't expect Dak Prescott to hit the ground running and being 400 yards a game Dak Prescott. I don't. Again, especially not week 1 against the Bucs without Zach Martin. And, okay, that defensive line, that's the best run-stopping defensive line in football. I don't think they're going to get their run game and, chew up the clock with Ezekiel Elliott this week. So they're going to have to drop back and throw the ball and win the game with Dak Prescott's right arm. I don't think they're doing that week 1. And then week 2, they're going to the Chargers and doing that. Damn, I don't know if I like that a whole lot either. And plus, we know the defense. Yes, I like Vander Esch and Micah Parsons at linebacker. They got questions everywhere else, in my opinion. I know DeMarcus Lawrence is a $100 million DN. He's real good. He's not a superstar the last 2 years. Can he take over games and do that? I don't know. I got to see it to believe it before I pick them. I'm going with Washington, where they're a team that has, I think, a few elite position groups and a coach that understands how to kind of all tie it together and manage football games. That's why I'm going with Ron Rivera in Washington.
It's the NFC East. A lot of intrigue, especially here where we live, Chris. A lot of people will want to hear What do you see as the biggest difference between the bottom of that division there between the Eagles and the Giants?
Right. I just think there's just unanswered questions. Yeah, of course, we know Daniel Jones. Can he take the next step? Can they do the right things to support him too, though? Can they run the ball and protect him like we talked about last week? I mean, he can't block and throw and run and do it all. So that's a big thing. The offense of the Giants in general, does that open up with more talent this year? Those are the things to watch out for. Joe Judge is going to manage the game the right way, and I think their defense is going to be a pain in the butt because they're so big up front that it's going to allow them to be flexible with the back seven. They're going to always be like, hey, our front four can handle the run. Now let's mess with people with our back seven and have fun that way. So I really could see the Giants being competitive in the division. And maybe if they snuck out a win or two, they could maybe take it.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, just what I come back to is the Eagles, just to hit on that. Yeah, of course, Jalen Hurts went 1-3. Everybody, we talk like he just went undefeated and took the league by storm for some reason. I don't know why, but that's how he's talked about. And we're going, no, he went 1-3. And threw below 50%, I believe, in 2 of those games. Come on.
If that happens again in September, do you think he'll be there in October?
No, probably not. That's where I got to see some of those things first before I can buy into that, aspect. Washington, to your point, to our point, they have a good offensive line. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's been there and done that. I know he's not a superstar, but they have elite weapons around him.
Yes.
They have elite weapons around him, and on the defensive side, they have arguably the best defensive line in football.
Yeah.
They got more athletic at linebacker. They got a better corner. I just look at Washington as clearly being the best team.
Like you and I agree. I think Washington looks, to me, a level above Dallas. Good to hear you say the same thing. Okay, NFC North, the biggest question for me here is how big is the gap going to be from points bet from Green Bay to everybody else?
Right.
I kind of thought it'd be bigger. Green Bay, negative 170, Minnesota, plus 280, Chicago, plus 500, and Detroit at 2,500. I would have had the Packers a couple hundred points more ahead of the Vikings.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, they're in a class of their own in the division. I mean, Green Bay is the only team going to the playoffs for me in the NFC North. I think they're clearly the best team in that division. Minnesota, is there some possibilities? Yes. I hate how their offense looked. I know they hold everything back, and they're waiting for Dalvin Cook. So, hey, they could be a pain in the butt, and I do think their defense will be better, but I don't think good enough to where it gets them in the playoffs. I think, maybe a little like we saw last year. They're in the conversation in the middle of December. If they can win out, maybe they get in. But I just don't envision that. I just don't think there's enough power there on both sides of the football. I guess I question their secondary a little bit on the defensive side. The Bears... I just have questions about their whole offense.
Yeah.
I got to see it. I don't know. They were very fortunate last year. I know everybody goes, well, the Bears made the playoffs last year. Yes, they did make the playoffs.
Doesn't feel that way looking back now,
it was one of the more underwhelming playoff appearances you're going to find. I mean, the only team that they beat was worth a damn last year were the Buccaneers, and they kind of lucked into that. I mean, the Buccaneers
Thursday night, right?
They beat the Lions, the Giants, the Panthers, the Texans, the Vikings, the Jaguars. That's how they won last year. That's their 8 victories. All right? They lost to the Packers, the Vikings, the Titans, the Saints, the Rams, the Colts. Every team that was in the playoff mix, they couldn't beat other than that Tampa game. I just don't see anything greatly improved there. I think Justin Fields' era will start at some point, and I don't think the defense is as dominant as it used to be. So that's why I say no to the Bears.
NFC South.
Boom.
Okay, Buccaneers going to be the team.
Yeah.
I think I like New Orleans better than most people do. Let's see there. So Tampa Bay, negative 250. Then they have New Orleans on the plus side, 475. Atlanta quite a ways back at 900. Carolina just behind Atlanta there at 1,100. So Tampa Bay, I know we're going to talk the Bucs as we get into playoff predictions and Super Bowl teams. So hang on to your Bucs thoughts. Do you think New Orleans is the second best team here?
I do.
Because I know you like Carolina.
I do. Listen, I think Carolina plus 1,100 is ridiculous.
Right?
Ridiculous. So I'm just letting you know, Carolina's making the playoffs in my bracket. I'm putting them in. They're one of those teams where you go, I didn't see them coming, and I'm saying no. You listen to Chris Simms Unbuttoned. He saw them coming. He tried to tell you.
How close to the Saints?
I think the Saints will be like a game better. Right? I'm of course picking the Bucs to win the division. I got the Saints as one of the top wild cards, and the Panthers as the last team getting in. That's how I kind of worked it that way. But, I don't know what anybody could be thinking putting Atlanta in front of any of those teams. Matt Ryan, is that the only thing we're going on?
What do you think, and I know you don't have it because you like them, what do you think the biggest, most legitimate Carolina concern it's out there is.
Sam Darnold, and nobody knows Matt Rule and what he's about, like especially NFL people. If you're in football and you know college football and everything, but I think those are two, like, wait, Sam Darnold's a bust, and who's Matt Rule and where the f did he come from? So that leads to this, like, well, they can't be that good. And I would just go, man, you put their weaponry, McCaffrey with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall, the Dan Arnold, the tight end they got, from Arizona, Ian Thomas, the other tight end, and then you get into their defensive line and their linebackers, they're stacked. So I would just go, don't sleep on them. That is the one team I will sit here again and pound the table for, to go, Carolina's going to be in this conversation. Whether they get in or not, I don't know. But they're going to be in this conversation. I think they're too good. And then, the other thing I like about them is, like, favorable schedule for a team that needs to gain some confidence early on to get that mojo going. They got the Jets week 1. They're better than the Jets. They're going to have to mess that up to lose it. The Saints week 2. I understand that's a game. They'll be the lesser team. The Saints are battle tested. I'm higher on the Saints than most. Like you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, but then after that, they got the Texans, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Giants, the Falcons. All teams that I would just say right away on paper are not as talented as the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
To where they can win a few games and start to go, wait, we are good. Like, we do know how to win in the NFL. So I look at that as Carolina being one of those surprise teams.
I'll set you up with the Saints here.
Yeah.
I like them more than most people. I think Sean Payton's going to shine. He's always been a highly respected, really good coach. Now, without Drew, I think he's going to have success anyway, a high level of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to come to the forefront.
Right.
And I think Jameis Winston is going to have this situation kind of like every quarterback that was a high pick and goes somewhere else. There's this hope he's going to be Ryan Tannehill, that the change of scenery is going to make it happen for him. I think Jameis Winston's going to be as close to that as we've seen since Tannehill did that, where he went from a pretty good quarterback to a really good quarterback. Those are my two reasons for liking New Orleans a little more than everybody else.
They're good reasons. To me, I feel the same way to you as Jameis Winston. Like, it could take off, and I can go, damn, watch out. The Saints could win the division if he plays awesome football.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget, they dominated the Bucs twice last year, and were up 20-10 and driving down the field on the edge of field goal position before Jared Cook fumbled the ball, and the Bucs turned the game around. I mean, you were going, damn, Saints are going to dominate the game and just put them away here. That's the way you were looking at the game. And then that changed everything. So the Saints haven't fallen that far off. I know there's no Drew Brees, and it might not be as consistent. They will gain some ability to push the ball down the field more with Jameis Winston. A lot of people, I think, point and go, well, Michael Thomas won't be there. Hey,
for a little bit.
Don't sleep on this little group they got there right now. To me, they're one of the more underrated groups in football. First off, Traquan Smith is good. We saw Marquez Callaway can be a go-to number one target type of guy. Little Jordan Humphrey's not bad either. I would be shocked if he pops on the scene this year. And I'm missing another receiver. Deontay Harris. But between that and Kamara coming out of the backfield, and their offense and defensive line still being top units in football, I like the Saints too. I have one question. They're DBs. That's my only thing I look at that to go. And I know they're worried about it. They've made comments. So they like to play man-to-man and put some pressure on their guys. Can Paulson Adebo, their third-round pick, come through? Can they trust some of those guys in those positions to lock up their guys? That's the only thing I got, but I'm thinking playoffs like you.
I'm going to throw out this reminder one more time, and I've brought it up before here, sitting right here with you, Chris. But Jameis Winston only went crazy with the picks that 1 year.
I know.
It was only 31 time. It was never even in the 20s his other 4 years as a starter.
Mid-teens.
Mid-teens, sometimes low.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just keep that in mind as we watch him do pretty well this year. Okay, I think we've saved the best for last. Or to me, at least, the most intriguing in the NFC West, because there are three teams you could pick to win it, and it would make sense. PointsBet says Niners just ahead of the Rams.
Yeah.
They're just ahead of the Seahawks, and then the Arizona Cardinals quite a bit behind. Do you see it with the top three, Niners, Rams, Seahawks?
I do. I see the Niners. The Niners just have the most complete roster. They do. And I look at Los Angeles and going, if you take the starters, okay, it's close. It's not – they're very talented starters. I just think there's a lot more depth behind the 49ers roster as compared to that Rams roster. So that's what scares me. I'm going to pick the Niners to win the division. And I don't give a damn about the quarterback situation or not. I just think Shanahan's too good. The team's too good. I expect it to be mostly Jimmy Garoppolo, especially here early in the year. But as soon as Trey Lance is somewhat healthy and they feel good about his finger, we're going to see that package of plays. And I think it'll work itself out to where I don't think we're going to see a Trey Lance starting at quarterback unless we just see a monumental meltdown from Garoppolo.
Which I don't think we're going to see.
I don't think we're going to see that either. I don't. I think they're good enough. Shanahan's good enough. Garoppolo's on the edge of his seat because he doesn't know where his career is going. That, you're going to see his best football, and that I think he's going to play at a pretty high level, or at least their offense is going to be at a pretty high level.
You say the Niners are going to figure out the quarterback thing, a fun problem to have with a veteran quarterback and an exciting rookie quarterback. As they figure it out, you believe most to be their rock, their running game, or their defense that'll kind of carry them through that figuring out period?
Both. I mean, they're both really impressive. I would be shocked if they're not one of the best running teams in football, which helps Garoppolo or Lance, whoever's at quarterback. Defensively, I don't think it's going to be like 2019 again, where they were like that year one of the best pass defenses we've seen in the last like 15, 20 years in football. I don't think it's going to be that dominant, but I think it's going to be like top five in football type of defense once again. Yeah. And hopefully Garoppolo can realize, like, hey, I don't need to take chances or do anything like that, like he did in 2019.
Yep.
To where he just, okay, hey, this guy's open, I'll hit him. Wait, I don't need to force this ball in here. Our defense is good. Shanahan will come up with another design run. I look at them as the team I'm going to go with. The Rams are going to make second. They scare me just because of the depth of the roster, like I've talked about a million times. But, man, they got playmakers and they're coached well. Yeah. And that's where I go, they're going to be right in the thick of things here. The Seahawks are the team I'm leaving out.
I have them at number 2, and this is the division I sat down and kind of mapped out. I'm like, gosh, I could see any one of these top 3 teams winning or being third. Neither one of us see the Cardinals doing much in that division. We'd be pleasantly surprised if Kyler Murray and the offense were that much better and they were contending with those guys. But I put Seattle at number 2, and here's what the difference maker was for me, Chris. I wrote down, okay, who's the best player in this division? Who do you believe in the most?
Right.
It's Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I know there's lots of issues there, a lot of questions, but I couldn't see Russell Wilson finishing third in that division. That's why I put them at 2.
I know. Listen, that's going to be the hardest thing for me here. I have the the Seahawks not making the playoffs. I had to pick one team to be on the outside looking in. Right? I can't believe I'm picking Russell Wilson not to make the playoffs. Yeah. Yes, he is the best player in the division, him and Aaron Donald.
Do you have bigger concerns about the Seahawks or bigger belief in the Rams as you picked one of them to go to the playoffs?
I think it's more of that. And then I go, you got Shane Waldron, who's running the lesser version of the McVay offense, who's running the lesser version of the Shanahan offense. Like, sorry, your offense is third in the division, no matter what. No matter what.
Something had to be the difference maker. It's a good point.
So that, that I think a real difference maker on their defensive line, who is that going to be? They have, like, decent depth. But who's one guy that you're worried about blocking in Seattle? Nobody, really. They got a lot of like, we think he can be something, but nothing there. Corners, they got nothing at corner. That would scare the crap out of me. And then, like I said last week, Quandre Diggs wanting more money, him just starting to practice. Dwayne Brown, that same conversation. And, what I came down to in a lot of these was really this. When it was this close, I really went back to schedule again, and not the whole schedule, but the start of the schedule. They're all playing the same teams, but it's how it sets up and shakes out. And Seattle's start of their schedule, Colts, Titans, Vikings, 49ers, Rams, Steelers, Saints. I just looked at that and just went, They put a lot of their tough ones right off the bat to where I just didn't like the layout of that schedule as compared to the 49ers who get the Lions and Bengals to start the year, and the Lions and Eagles where you get to get going. The Rams, it's a tough schedule, but again, I don't think it's a murderer's row like we're talking about there. Courtney, if you can bring – way to go, Courtney. Yeah, hey, I think they're going to beat the Bears in week 1. Yeah, the Colts will be tough. We know that, and same with the Bucs. But then, I'm going to pick them to beat Arizona. I think they're better than Seattle. And then they got the Giants and the Lions and the Texans. They can go on a little run to where even if they don't play their best football, I sit here and go, they could be 5-3 easily playing average football. I guess that's what swayed me a little bit. And I just got too much faith in McVay and Stafford and company to where I gave them the edge over the Seahawks. But I don't feel comfortable about that at all. At all.
That was a difficult one to sort through.
Right.
Sets up well to get into the playoff bracket now. We've hit each one of the divisions. NFC will come up in a moment. We'll put that. We'll rest with the NFC for just a couple minutes here. AFC seeding.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Yep.
AFC seeding. We do not have the points bet here to tee it up, so this is 100%
just me.
Chris Simms.
Chris Simms Unbuttoned, Under Armour.
Rolling this one here.
AFC seeding is going. I'm going Chiefs 1.
Okay.
Bills 2. And like I think this is going to be one of those where they could have the same record. And it's just like who wins in the head-to-head matchup. I don't think this is going to be like one team is clearly like the number 1 seed. It's going to be tight. It's going to be 12-5, 13-4. They might have the same record. So I'm going Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Browns 3. Same thought. I'm like the Browns. I think are going to be right there with them as far as record. I'm thinking 12-5. 11-6, maybe 13-4, right in that range for them. So I have them as the 3 seed. I have the Titans winning the division in the South, only team from that division. So, yes, I'm picking them as the 4 seed. I went 5th seed, Pats. 6th seed, Steelers. 7th seed, Ravens. So that is my AFC bracket right there. Chiefs getting the first round bye. At the end of the day, of course I couldn't pick against the best player in football. Yes, duh. That's Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another thing. Like, as I watched film this past weekend, and I watched the Chiefs again because I just was kind of dabbling around things I wanted. Like, man, when I went back and watched the Chiefs last year, I just went, man, look at them. You can't beat them. And they didn't protect Patrick Mahomes the whole fucking year. The whole fucking year. Every play I looked at, I went through a reel of him throwing and stuff like that where I just went, holy shit, is he going to throw one from the pocket here? This is like the 20th throw in a row where he's escaped the pocket, scrambled to the right, scrambled to the left. He's not going to have to do that this year. This offensive line is going to change their football team, and that's why I just couldn't go against them that way.
Okay, let's start at the bottom here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you 5, 6, 7, New England, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. That leaves out Indy, LA Chargers, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
So for all those fans of those teams out there wondering why they didn't quite make it, which one, and again, it's Colts, Chargers, Dolphins, which one was the almost that you had there at 7?
Miami was really the team I look at the most. Chargers, new head coach, new offense, second-year quarterback. I just couldn't quite do it. The Broncos, I feel good. The defense I think is going to be really good. I know they got weapons, but I question Teddy. Does it all come together? The Dolphins are the ones I had the hardest time with, just because I think they're truly a playoff. They have everything you need on the roster, really. It's just they're in a tough division when and Tua is a question mark to me. Just again going back watching film of the weekend. The one thing that jumps out to me about the Dolphins, can Tua throw the ball outside the numbers? That's going to be one thing. If I'm playing Miami week 1 like New England is, one thing that I saw consistently through the preseason was, throws down the middle, throws down the middle, throws down the middle. I'm not letting him throw the ball down the middle early in the year. Just, maybe he answers you wrong, but that's one thing that he's got to answer for me as we go.
I think it's fair. I mean, the moment you brought that up, I'm going through in my head. I'm like, okay, just a week or 2 ago, we were praising him for how he's playing in the preseason.
Yeah,
his 3 best plays were all between the hashes.
They are. And again, these are just food for thought for everybody. I'm not saying I'm right. It's just something to consider, and let's see how the guy goes. Right.
One other AFC thing here, Buffalo at number 2. It's a popular pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter King had him going to the Super Bowl. I believe.
Yeah, you're right. He did.
Is it too much too soon? I mean, for Buffalo, I know they were really, really good last year.
Yeah.
But it's so much positivity. It's not that I don't believe in them as well. I just hear so many good things.
I know.
I want to bring up a concern with Buffalo, just to get on record with it, just in case they're good instead of awesome.
I don't know how dominant their defense can be. They need one of these like rookies on the defensive line, Rousseau or somebody, or maybe some of these second-year guys to come through and be a little bit more of a force.
Okay.
So that's certainly something to watch out for. They're not deep at corner. Great safeties. Tre'Davious White did not play great football last year. And when they were injured on the other side, they had issues. They got, Levi Wallace got hurt at one point. Then Josh Norman was up there. So that's one area I look at where if they, like 1 or 2 injuries in the secondary, and I'd go, ooh, crap. They got nobody that can cover anybody anymore. Yeah. So that worries me. And then, hey, it's such a Josh Allen-centric type of play.
Yeah.
it's like with Mahomes, where it's like if he sprained an ankle or is not totally 100%, it's going to change their team. It's not like they can be like, we're the New England Patriots and we'll just find the new way because we'll just play this way. Now, they're kind of built to play like Josh Allen magic ball. And that always concerns me. Banged up shoulder, misses a few weeks, whatever. They could lose every game without him because they're so dependent on what he does for their team.
All right, we'll get to the wild card, divisional, and AFC championship parts of the AFC in a minute. Let's go with the NFC and the seeding as you see it there.
I went 49ers 1. I mean, it wasn't easy to do that, okay? That's the first thing, because the Bucs, to me, are the best team. The reason that I didn't go, with the Bucs, I guess, is I was looking at first place schedule, maybe a little bit Super Bowl, lackadaisicalness here and there, everybody gunning for you. That type of thing. But I went 49ers 1, Bucs 2, Packers 3, Washington 4, Saints 5, Rams 6, Panthers 7. Yeah, you want me to say that again?
I do.
Yes. Number 3 was the Packers.
Yep.
4 was Washington. 5 was the Saints. 6 is Rams. And 7 is my surprise Carolina Panthers.
Okay. So let's just keep some uniformity here.
Yeah.
Let's look at the bottom part. So 5, 6, and 7, you have Saints, you have Rams, and you have the Panthers. I'm looking at teams that were left out. And I got to be honest, it's not as easy in the AFC. The AFC is so stacked that there are a number of teams you can throw out and feel good about saying, why not them?
Right.
It's not as easy in the NFC. So you leave out the Vikings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seattle, of course, that we hit on.
You left out Seattle, and you left out the Cowboys.
Left out the Cowboys. Left out the Bears, who made the playoffs last year. Oh, I left them out. They were a playoff team last year. No, I know.
Not quite the same. So let's say between the Cowboys and, let's say, the Seahawks, who was the toughest to leave out?
Yeah, the Seahawks are. It's Pete Carroll. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time, and it's Russell Wilson, where it's like, he pulls magic rabbits out of his ass more than anybody you've ever seen.
The magic ones.
The magic ones, yes. Magic, double magic right there. All right, but that's what scares me. The Seahawks are like the king of we've been outplayed for 57 minutes, but
we're going to win.
We're still only down by 1 score, and Russell has the ball. You outplayed us. That's great, but it's still 1 score, and we got Russell Wilson, and you're going to lose now probably because of that. And it's the most damnedest thing I've ever seen. So that's where I'm scared shitless that I don't have Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs.
I need a little bit more, and America might as well, on the Niners being better than the Bucs.
I know. I guess what I'm just going through there is the way the Niners schedule shakes out early in the year. Their offensive line being so good, and I think have such a chance to be dominant. Just the added wrinkle of the Trey Lance run game, but I just think with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and then Mostert, I just look at their offense with Shanahan's brilliance behind it and an unbelievable offensive line and just go, I just think they're going to be almost impossible to stop on the offensive side of the ball. And then the defense, like I said, the corners worry me a little, but, okay, Lions and Eagles, I expect them to win. Packers at home. I know Packers at home on Sunday Night Football. It's not going to be easy, but damn, they own the Packers.
They have.
I know. I know last year the Packers beat them, but half of the team was on the training table for the 49ers. The Seahawks, okay. Yeah, I think the 49ers are better than the Seahawks. Cardinals, the same thing. I get the Colts game. I just look at them and, I'm not going to go through the whole schedule here. They're too well coached, and they don't have weaknesses on their football team. And I just think they're going to get on a run. They're hungry because they missed out last year. That they're the number 1 seed. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they're the number 1 seed.
Okay,
I tried not to go chalk here.
I know that's.
You got to realize I'm trying to predict maybe a few curveballs here and there, and I'm trying to play that game too.
Because it would make so much sense, and we can talk about it more when we get to the end here. Yeah. To pick Chiefs Buccaneers makes perfect sense.
It. Right.
So it's not as much fun to do that.
I wanted to. I had one of my first drafts of the playoffs. I was kind of like, is it Chiefs Bucks? Is that gonna be?
Yeah.
And then I just started to play out different scenarios, and we'll see where we got to that.
It's more enjoyable that way. Okay, let's hit the actual playoff bracket like we're doing a little March Madness here in the beginning of September with the NFL. Starting with the NFC, Kristen, I think we were keeping it right there. Is this correct? I'm going to take that as a yes. NFC, from wild card to divisional to NFC Championship. What do you got?
All right, well, 2-7 matchup. You got Bucks-Panthers, right?
Okay.
Right, and they've seen each other, and this will be the third time. I'm, of course, going to pick the Bucks to win the football game. Panthers, great year, but not ready for the Bucks on the playoff field quite yet. So Bucks win that one.
Yep.
3-6, we got Packers-Rams. No difference between these teams other than the one team had the 49ers in the division, so they're just, to me, it's not like I'm like, oh, this is an upset. I'm picking the Rams to beat the Packers this year.
Okay.
I mean, damn, the Rams were within a touchdown last year up there, and with no offense and Jared Goff who could barely throw, right, after they had benched him for John Wolford.
Right.
So I just look at the Rams and go, no, I don't think so. McVay, now with that quarterback coming up there who's going to be familiar playing in Lambeau Field since he played there all those years. Yeah, it was like, these are little wrinkles I look for when I do this playoff shit. Oh, Stafford will be comfortable. Oh, McVay taught LaFleur. Oh, that I'm gonna go with that. So, and I think really top end roster, they're more talented than the Packers.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to ignore the family when you're thinking about, what advantage can I give to the Rams in Lambeau Field? Family, leave me alone.
Yeah, right.
On this Monday evening.
Yes.
On this Monday afternoon with everybody home from school.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
I like it.
All right.
Okay,
so now we
got
got the
Bucks
4-5.
and the Rams winning.
Yeah. Yep. Bucks and Rams winning. 4-5 matchups. Washington versus the Saints. I am going to pick the Saints to win that football game. Too much respect for Sean Payton. I am expecting the turnaround that you talked about with Jameis Winston. It's one of the best offensive lines in football. It's still going to be one of the best run-stopping defensive lines in football. Davenport looked pretty good rushing the passer in the preseason. So, yeah, I'm picking the Saints to win that. So now we got 1 Niners versus 6 Rams, and you have 2 Bucks versus 5 Saints. Right?
Okay, yes.
Got that?
Yep.
1 Niners versus 6 Rams, 2 Bucks versus 5 Saints, in the NFC divisional round.
Who was your last game?
Bucks Saints, and it's going to be 49ers Rams.
So we had Washington beating New Orleans.
No, we have the Saints beating New Orleans.
I'm sorry, we had the New Orleans
Saints beating
Washington.
Yes.
There we go.
Right.
Don't we need one more?
Niners versus Rams.
Okay.
Bucks versus Saints.
Got it.
Right. Divisional.
Okay.
Yes. See, smart people on this side of the table.
I know. We stated that earlier.
Yes.
Yes.
So we got repeat matchups here, divisional rounds. And listen, here's a part where I wanted to go. Like you talk about unexpected curveballs, like where I want to go. Whoa, Saints Bucks. Saints could pay back the Bucks for last year. Jameis Winston could get payback on the Bucks. That would be the most amazing storyline ever. I just can't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So I got the Bucks beating the Saints.
Okay.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger. As much as I wanted to, and I had another draft where I wrote it down, and I just was like,
you wanted to.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I just can't. I'm trying to be different.
Talk you out of it. Yeah, I know.
Now we got 49ers Rams, which I've already stated really I think are like deadly equal. I gave the 49ers the division basically because, the Rams had to find their footing with their new quarterback a little bit in a few games early in the year. But I'm going to pick the Rams to pull the upset off here. I am. I just think the Rams, McVay, they've traditionally played the 49ers tight, and now he's got a quarterback he's not going to have to manage the game around his quarterback.
Right.
He's going to be able to let it loose. I think that's why you're going to see a different Rams football team. And I think also, if there is a team that will understand, so here again, there's my curveball storylines here. I mean, if there's a team that's going to understand how to slow down Shanahan, of course it's going to be McVay to a degree. They have the talent to do it on the defensive side of the ball. And here's the other thing. Raheem Morris is the defensive coordinator with the Rams now. He's been on staff with Shanahan twice in Atlanta and Washington. Yeah. If anybody's going to have knowledge of Shanahan's offense, it's going to be him. So that's why I picked that upset. See?
Well done.
See? Like that? Like that?
Yeah.
All right.
So now we are left with Bucks
Rams Bucks.
I think this is the 79 NFC Championship.
You're right, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Low scoring affair, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 15, I can't remember, 15-3.
Doug Williams against Vince Ferragamo.
Right. Jack Youngblood and company. Yes.
Ralph Benershka.
So there's some classics there.
Yeah.
And then they went on to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-9 and 31-19 in Super Bowl
Great
14.
cover of Sports Illustrated. Yeah. Stallworth catching that post.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about
Big
that.
throws by Bradshaw the fourth quarter.
Okay.
So Rams Bucks.
Yep.
Which again I thought about, man, Rams Saints could be cool. Like, right? I told you I was thinking that. Rams Bucks. I do think the Rams match up well with the Bucks. They're a different team. They're a speed team to a degree. And McVay, of course, the way he game plans, I saw them last year beat Tampa in Tampa and get pressure on Brady and do those type of things. I do believe the Bucs are the best team in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Don't get me wrong.
I see where this is going.
But I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah.
Again, here's like another storyline.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's, Stafford going to the Super Bowl. Again, Raheem Morris, he was in Atlanta. He's going to know this Bucs offense a little bit. And, we never seen a host team beat the Super Bowl. Well, we saw it last year. And I'm like, okay, let's have it again. I don't know. The Rams, I know they're hosting it. But it's I don't know, one of those things where I just went, the unintended consequences of this, where I was like, we've never seen it before, and now we're going to see it 2 years in a row.
Right.
But obviously, I think their talent, their coaching, everything like that that surrounds the Rams football team makes me a believer that, they're going to be in this Final Four, Final Eight conversation and a real player.
Spirited effort to be a little bit different and have fun that way, or if it was your own money,
I know,
would you actually pick the Bucs, or are you that bullish on the Rams?
No, if I had to pick my own, if I had to you were like, Chris, you got to put $10,000 on it.
Yeah,
I would probably bet the Bucs.
It's that the Bucs kind of ruin it that way.
I know,
for everybody.
I know.
You stand back and try and pick something wrong with them, and it's just
hard.
difficult.
It is very hard. I know.
But the Rams
are talented. Rams have a front four that can get there by itself. They don't need to blitz.
You've been, of all the people who've been excited about the Stafford-McVay relationship from the day we found out about it, I put you at the top of the list. So this makes a lot of sense. It lines up to your belief the last few months.
I'm just saying the stars align in Hollywood for the Hollywood team this year. That's where I'm playing that angle. But yes, the Bucs, that was tough to leave them out. It was one of those where you're really it got down to man, everybody's picking the Bucs to be there.
Yeah.
Can I really is it going to be that easy? And history usually says no.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Okay, so we have the Rams surviving the NFC side. Let's begin now, or let's jump over to the AFC and with the wild card round there.
Yeah, all right. So Bills-Ravens in the 2-7 matchup. We saw that game last year in the divisional round. So I'm going to have the Bills beating the Ravens.
Yep.
3-6. You got Browns-Steelers, repeat of last year's wild card game.
Nice.
Browns beat the Steelers.
Yep,
going with that again. And then we got the 4-5 matchup with the Titans and the Pats. And I'm going with the Patriots. I am. Going to pick Belichick. Yes, just his playoff wisdom, creativity. Again, I think the Patriots will have a top 5 defense for sure. I will not be shocked if the Patriots have the best defense in football when the year's all said and done, and I think that's going to be a real issue.
The belief is incredibly high after. If you just think about a team that struggled a lot last year, has a rookie quarterback starting.
Yeah.
People are expecting a lot of them now.
I know. He's not your normal rookie, and like we've talked about, they'll manage him and the offense the right way, and like I just said, I think their defense is going to be a real issue for people to deal with.
Okay, so we've got 4 teams left in the AFC: Buffalo, Cleveland, New England, Kansas City.
Yep, we got Chiefs versus Pats in the first divisional round. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I am. Not easy. Trust me. Kansas. If anybody can upset an unexpected, crazy upset of the Kansas City Chiefs, it could be New England.
Yeah.
Damn, they had them on the ropes last year, like we've talked about many times with Brian Hoyer. It was big trouble, dominating the football game, and of course they're going to be a lot better. But I'm going to, Mahomes, the pass protection. I think their defense might be a little bit even better this year. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win a close one, and then we got the Bills-Browns game. In the other divisional game, I'm going with the Browns. I am. I'm going to go with the Browns. The Browns just too talented. I think if Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney healthy, they can contain Josh Allen a little bit. And I think ultimately what I come back down to is I got to see it from the Bills defense to know they can stop this type of offense. The Browns are going to be able to be explosive in the pass game, especially if Odell's still out there and healthy. But their run game it's second to none. It's up there with anybody in the sport, and their offensive line's amazing. So yeah, I'm going Chiefs-Browns in the AFC Championship game.
And the winner is?
I'm going with the Browns as the upset here. I am. Again, it's another one where it's I just couldn't go chalk and just say, oh man, the Chiefs are going to get the Super Bowl 30 times in a row. I really feel it with the Browns though. The way they talk, the way they look in person and on paper, the way they ended last year, the team is perfectly built for the players they have within it. And I just think because of that, I look at it and just go, again, we just explained it earlier. They were this close to beating the Chiefs.
Yes.
I know Mahomes got hurt, but I don't think they were going to run away with the game no matter what, Mahomes and company. The Browns are still moving the ball, too, on the Chiefs' defense.
Right.
So I just think the Browns are a little bit better this year. They're hungry, and they're going to get it done.
So you have the Rams and the Browns.
Rams and Browns.
Making it to the Super
I really
Bowl.
got close to Bucks-Chiefs. I got close to Rams-Chiefs.
Yep.
I got, my Final Four, I really played it all out. I went Bucks-Browns. But I ultimately went with, okay, I'm going to take the Rams in the upset. And I think the Browns are equally, if not maybe even better, roster-wise than the Chiefs. It's really damn close, and that's why I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to give you a little chance to exhale and see what you think of my picks.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
I'm going to throw in my NFC and AFC picks. First of all, with your Rams-Browns pick, my late grandfather, Forrest Burmeister, would love it because he played for the Cleveland Rams.
Oh, my gosh, right.
The Cleveland Rams in the late 30s.
That's awesome.
Got great I should bring it in sometime. Like the contract he signed for $125 a game, the letter from the coach and the GM. But I see Rams and Browns together.
It's old school.
Anywhere. I always think of my grandpa. So thanks for bringing that up.
No problem.
The unintended memory there. My NFC pick is the Packers.
Okay.
Now, like you, I had a lot. I kind of had to talk myself out of the Buccaneers.
Right.
And I knew when I started this exercise, the one thing I didn't want was to pick the Buccaneers because it's too easy.
Yeah.
Even knowing that and having that conviction going, and I got to the end, and I had to make myself not pick the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Because everything lines up for them.
I know.
So going against that, I'm like, okay, what could talk me out of Tampa Bay? They have everybody back, all the coaches back. What could derail that? And I thought, okay, a quarterback I believe in more than anybody else.
Right.
I also put a lot of stock into the quarterback-play-caller relationship.
Sure.
Is it kind of new and kind of moving in the right direction? I like the new because maybe it hasn't scratched the surface yet.
Yeah.
So I wanted that. And I don't care if a defense is top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
But I want it to be decent.
Right.
And, again, have the arrow going in the right direction.
Sure. Which they do.
I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think they're crazy.
Love the LaFleur-Rodgers relationship.
Right.
I think there's just something cool and fun to root for a team that had so many issues in the offseason and so much drama, and a quarterback who likes to kind of stick it to somebody.
Yeah.
So,
I would
some
love
extra
it, man.
motivation.
I would love it.
And I do see – I didn't have to talk myself into the defense. I do see the defense moving to a good place. So I like your Rams pick. I'm going with the Packers.
I'm not like angry. I would love to see that. I mean, I really would. And you make a lot of good points. You do. To me, it just, like I said earlier, it's just so much is relying on him. I guess
all him.
Well, I'm just scared of everybody else, messing it up a little bit. That's just what seems like. They still haven't stopped the 49ers running the ball 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The Bucs ran the ball on them last year. The end of the first half, stupidity of the defensive calls, just things like that, I guess, are just what scare me from picking them.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think that end of the half, that the game management stuff that was
huge.
Doesn't bother me as much as that San Francisco has kind of owned them in key moments.
Right.
That made me pause a little bit and really think about the Niners. I stumbled on the quarterback indecision there a little bit.
I get it. It could disrupt the team.
But that part of the Packers' recent resume did bother me.
Yeah.
In the AFC, and I thought I was doing something different here, but I have the Browns too.
Oh.
And it's a similar formula I followed with thinking about, okay, remove yourself from the fact that Kansas City is the obvious pick. I wasn't going to let myself pick the Chiefs. But think about a quarterback who's really got it going with a high level of talent in the right direction, with a play caller that it's kind of new and that they seem to have a really nice synergy.
Agreed.
I thought about Baker and Kevin right away.
Yeah.
And the defense has to be better than last year.
Definitely.
Love the defensive end spot.
Yeah.
Like their early draft picks. I thought about this too, and I'm happy to hear you say about the Browns. It just feels like it's
right.
a team that's really got it.
It does.
And I hate that response from myself that it's a team with it. I wanted to think about – I wanted to put a label on it that was a little bit better than I just have a really good feeling about the confidence, the mojo, and the direction there.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything
From
wrong
watching
with that.
offense roll.
Right. Watching it roll. We saw a little in preseason game 3. The way it played at the end of the year, I mean, Baker Mayfield just seems like it's going all on the up and up. They didn't even have Odell part of that.
Yeah.
You know, the offensive line's dominant. You know, they got maybe the best duo at running back in all of football. The defensive line is really, really good, with arguably the best edge pass rusher in the game in Myles Garrett. Clowney being the X factor. Linebackers, okay, it's not my favorite there, but you get Anthony Walker and then Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and you go, well, okay, that's a little different group. They get John Johnson in free agency at safety, and then you go Denzel Ward. We forget he was banged up a lot last year. When he's healthy, he's one of the top 10 corners in football. Yeah. They drafted another corner in the first round in Greg Newsome, who fits their scheme and is long. Let's not forget Greedy Williams, who's also long and athletic from LSU's draft 2 years ago. He was banged up last year, so that's another guy that adds to the group. Like, it's just hard. It's almost like the Bucs a little bit, where you just go through it.
Yeah.
And I know they haven't done it yet like the Bucs, but you just go through it and you go, well, where's really the weakness of the football team that way? Where? And then they play a style of football that's team-oriented. They don't really ask, like, one guy to go above and beyond, which I think is dangerous.
I think schematically, too, and everybody kind of copies the other one a little bit, but what they do with their tight formations and their multiple tight ends and Baker under center all the time, it's just in a world of same, and they can all look really good at times.
That's what they're great at.
It's a little bit different. And I really like the way they're going about it.
That's what would be cool about my Super Bowl, or even your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is you're going to have a very similar offenses. You know, it's going to be run, boots, play actions. You know, it's going to be like, you're going to be like, wait, are we going back to my great granddad's day when he was on the Cleveland Rams, right?
Yes.
I mean, because as you see, there's some teams here that are going to be in the playoffs that are old school that way. You know, the 49ers are going to be run first. The Saints are going to borderline on still being a physical run football team. You know, the Rams, the Browns, you know, the Titans, the Pats are certainly not going to abandon the run game, along with, of course, what the Ravens are going to be. So, you know, running the football, physicality is kind of the new thing in football, because why? The biggest thing is, you control the clock, you keep your defense up, but it also creates the most explosive plays in the pass game. Yeah. And that's really the biggest thing why teams are staying patient in the run game. All right, that's it. Hey, guys, no need to watch football this year. We gave you the answers, and now you know who.
Did you pick your winner, though?
Oh, you're right. I did not pick my winner.
And the Super Bowl is on NBC.
It is on NBC.
Yeah.
And I'm picking the Browns to win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
I'm going with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let.
I couldn't make myself do it because I got stuck on it's the Browns thing.
I know.
I'm mad at myself for thinking that.
So you're going to pick Rodgers and company to win it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I would never count out Rodgers in that game. I know. Yeah. Thanks. I'm going Browns. Picking the Browns to win the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
Can't believe I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't do it just to have a little something different.
Good.
So one vote for the Packers and one
we'll
for
bet a
the
steak
Browns.
dinner.
Okay. Individual awards.
Yeah.
Steak dinner. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Individual awards. MVP. Who you see?
I'm going to go Josh Allen.
Yeah.
First off, he could have been last year. I just think, again, the way they're going to play, the style of football, it's just going to lead for him big stats. Plus, I think their schedule is tougher this year.
Yeah.
Well, they'll even have to lean on him more to be aggressive in the fourth quarter and win games that way.
I've got Tom Brady. I couldn't give him the Super Bowl, but I'll give Tom the MVP.
Yeah, I could see that.
Offensive Player of the Year. Let's begin in the AFC.
Well, Offensive Player of the Year.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's
for everybody.
Right.
There you go. The entire NFL.
I went with Christian McCaffrey here. It's a chalk pick. But as you know, I'm expecting the Panthers to be good, and in the playoffs, they have weapons everywhere. You're not going to just be able to focus on him, and I just think he's going to have a huge year receiving and rushing.
My pick is Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
To make myself go against the quarterback.
He was certainly in the running for me, too.
Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm going to go – I've picked Myles Garrett, I think, for the last 3 years straight.
That's my name.
So I've given up. He keeps failing me. Aaron Donald, of course, is the guy that's we know in the leader house. I'm going to go with Devin White of the Bucs. I'm just going to go, their defense is good. They're going to be in front in a lot of games. He's going to get some picks and some sacks and some forced fumbles.
Going to be disruptive as hell in some huge
Bobby Wagner
games.
type year. Right, that's where I'm going to go Devin White.
I'm mad at myself for not making that pick. All right, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
All right, I'm going Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I picked the Patriots to be the 5th team in the AFC in the playoffs. So you're a rookie quarterback and your team's in the playoffs as a 5 seed. And I don't think it's going to be to the point where they manage him to where they're like, we ran it 54 times this game. No, he's still going to have a big say in their success. So I'm going Mac.
Najee Harris here.
Yeah, okay.
Going to have over 1,000 yards for a team that goes to the playoffs. Like it. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm going with the guy that popped the most to me, and that's Micah Parsons of the Cowboys. First off, he's in a scheme that just allows him to just fly around and make tackles and do that. And honestly, you heard me say from the get-go of the draft, him, Caleb Farley, Jalen Collins, I think were clearly the 3 best defensive players in the draft. You could have taken them in the top 5 or 6. I'll go Micah Parsons.
I have Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Denver. He's set up very well there on an awesome defense.
Good too. Yes.
They're going to have some big games. I think they play against the AFC North and the NFC East.
Yeah, you are
a lot of people will be watching. So.
Definitely. Got a pass rush, going to force quarterbacks to throw it quick. He's being coached by a great secondary guy in Fangio. That's a good pick by you.
Coach of the Year.
It came to me for 2 NFC South ones. Matt Rule, right? If they got in, but Sean Payton's what I'm going to pick. You know, I got them going to the playoffs. They already got this hurricane shit they got to deal with, so they're out of like their facility for a month. No Drew Brees, still getting the playoffs. I just think it sets up for him to be Coach of the Year.
I've already praised him. I said, we've always thought of him as really good the last decade plus. I think he's going to be even better this year. My 1A next to him was Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Another coach, tremendous respect.
Right.
A Hall of Fame level coach, but I think he's going to get that team to another level this year.
I hope so.
After that disappointing finish. So if you go Peyton, I'll go Mike Tomlin.
All right, cool. Yeah, I just they're both men's men, motivators, old school. Their teams are always physical. They don't ever get the credit they deserve. And like you said, Sean Payton is one of the best offensive minds we've ever seen in football. Mike Tomlin, you know, I don't understand it. I mean, he's one of the best coaches we've seen over the last 20 or 25 years. I mean, they're in the playoffs or on the doorsteps of the playoffs every year. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he's a phenomenal head football coach, so I'm with you there all the way.
Yeah, both of those coaches, you watch them in any kind of situation, if you're around them live, you walk away thinking, I wish I at some point would have been on one of his teams.
Right. They definitely have that aura about them.
You just would give anything to have them believe in you.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that's it.
That's a prediction pod.
Booyah.
Yeah, and you are off to Tampa.
I'm off to Tampa today. I'm going to be there this afternoon. And then, I'll be doing the PFT show there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from the stadium, which I'm pumped
Friday
to do.
As well.
Right? And Florio's staying at home in West Virginia.
Gotcha.
So I'll be doing the show just like normal with him. I'll do my PFT Chris Simms Unbuttoned Picks collaboration podcast with Florio on Thursday. We'll be recording that, so that'll be out for the weekend if you want to hear our picks and breakdowns of all the games. So check in with all of that. You can see Chris Simms Unbuttoned on Peacock twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want to stream that,
I thought you were going third person. You can see Chris Simms, but it's actually the title.
It's actually the title.
Show, so.
It is. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, sponsored by Under Armour. Will be on Peacock.
You can see Chris Simms on Football Night in America.
He'll be there Thursday night. Yeah. Can't wait. I got a bunch of segments breaking down a little bit of everything.
More time for me to yell at my TV.
Good. Get that asshole off TV. Change the channel.
Yeah. Different versions of the same thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You the man.
Good to see you.
You the man. Thanks for driving the ship.
Have a good trip, man.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody be good. Enjoy the week of football Thursday night. It's here, baby. The NFL is here. And like I said, check out the Picks podcast with me and Florio later this week. Everybody be good, be safe. Enjoy opening night in the NFL.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.